Court is again in session. You may be seated. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Marshal. So we have a note again. It's Court Exhibit 12. Note reads, "We have reached a final decision of this case," signed by the foreperson. If you'd like to see it, it's...
No, thank you.
Okay. Anything before I bring in the jury?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Could we bring the jury?
They are bringing in the jury as we speak. We can also tell you that more court marshals have returned to this courtroom. So has the family of Mubarak Suleiman. What we know about this case is Trooper North opened fire and struck Mubarak Suleiman 7 times after the 19-year-old allegedly stole a car and led police on a high-speed chase. You can see they're standing in the courtroom right now, and we do expect that this verdict will be read soon. The jury has given a note already to say that they have reached a final decision. So what will happen now is they will assemble in the courtroom.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as
Let's
initials
listen
are
in.
called, please answer here. Rise and remain standing. Initials SF.
Here.
Initials JH.
Here.
Initials RH.
Here.
Initials AC.
Here.
Initials TS.
Here.
Initials MD.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in the case of State of Connecticut v. Brian North, have you agreed upon a verdict?
Yes.
Will the defendant Brian North please rise? Will the foreperson of the jury identify himself or herself by stating your initials for the record?
RH.
Mr. Foreperson, will you remain standing? The remaining members of the jury may be seated. In file number AAN CR 22-0121-580T, State of Connecticut v. Brian North, what say you, Mr. Foreperson? Is he guilty or not guilty on the first count of the crime of manslaughter in the first degree with the firearm in violation of Section 53A, 55, paren A, paren 3, and Section 53A, 55A of the Connecticut General Statutes with which he stands charged?
Not guilty.
In file number AAN CR 22-0121-580T, State of Connecticut v. Brian North, what say you, Mr. Foreperson? Is he guilty or not guilty of the lesser included offense of manslaughter in the second degree with the firearm in violation of Connecticut General Statutes 53A, 56, paren A, paren 1, and 53A, 56A, with which he stands charged?
Not guilty.
And file number AAN CR 22-0121-580T, State of Connecticut v. Brian North, what say you, Mr. Foreperson? Is he guilty or not guilty of the lesser included offense of criminally negligent homicide in violation of Connecticut General Statutes 53A, 55, with which he stands charged?
Not guilty.
Does the court accept this verdict?
Yes.
The jury may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please listen to your verdict as it is accepted in order recorded by the court. You, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, each of you do say unanimously that the defendant is not guilty of the crime of manslaughter in the first degree with the firearm in violation of Section 53A, 55, paren A, paren 3, and Section 53, 55A of the Connecticut General Statutes as outlined. You, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, each of you do say unanimously that the defendant is not guilty of the crime of the lesser included offense of manslaughter in the second degree with the firearm in violation of Connecticut General Statutes 53A, 56, paren A, paren 1, and Section 53A, 56A of the Connecticut General Statutes as outlined. You, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, each of you do say unanimously that the defendant is not guilty of the lesser included offense of criminally negligent homicide in violation of Section 53A, 55 of the Connecticut General Statutes as outlined. Mr. Foreperson, is this your verdict?
Yes, it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this your verdict? So say you all.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Would either of the parties request that the jurors be polled?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right, then. Your work is done here. You have the thanks of the state of Connecticut and the court and the parties. This was a difficult case. The work that you did was hard. And like I told you in the first place, you won't ever forget it. So you are discharged. Your jury service is complete. I would ask that if you could remain in the room behind here for a few minutes, because I'd like to speak. You're excused. Anything from counsel?
Nothing to say, Your Honor. Not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, you have been acquitted. You are discharged. Do we have anything else we need to do here?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then we are adjourned.
All rise.
You've just been listening to the verdict in the Trooper North trial, the case of Trooper Brian North shooting Mubarak Suleiman, a teenager, 7 times and killing him. The jury has found him not guilty on all charges. Trooper Brian North has been acquitted. The jury in this case, as you can see right now, there's some hugging going on in the courtroom as Trooper Brian North is giving some embraces to other law enforcement officials who have been there for him, even protesting outside of the courtroom, saying that he should be found innocent. It appears that, in fact, the jury has sided with Trooper Brian North, again, finding him not guilty on all charges. Trooper Brian North has been acquitted in this case. The judge thanked the jury and said that this was a difficult case. Trooper Brian North contended that he was acting out of fear for the safety of not only himself, but his fellow officers in this case. I want to just bring you back to what this case was all about. Mubarak Suleiman was a 19-year-old who allegedly stole a car and led police on a high-speed chase. Investigators say he was holding a knife. The defense claimed that North fired because, again, he believed his safety and the safety of other officers was at risk. We're going to look back at some of the key dates for you. On January 15th of 2020, Trooper Brian North shot and killed 19-year-old Mubarak Suleiman in West Haven. North then was charged with manslaughter more than 2 years later on April 19th of 2022. In July of 2023, Trooper North rejected a plea deal and opted to go to trial. That trial began on Monday, March 4th, and the jury began deliberating just this week on Wednesday and returned the verdict just now at just about 3 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. It was day 2 of deliberation, and they have returned a not guilty verdict, not guilty on all possible charges of both manslaughter, second-degree manslaughter, or negligent homicide. The jury, we know earlier today, did ask to rehear North's testimony. He was the first witness called in his own defense. And again, his statement was that he thinks about this every day, but that he acted in what he thought was the way he was trained to protect not only himself, but his fellow officers. If you're just tuning in, we are bringing you breaking news right now. Trooper Brian North has been acquitted. He's been found not guilty by this jury on all charges in the case of killing the teenager Mubarak Suleiman. And we have Matt McFarland at the court, who has been in this case every day, watching the testimony on both sides. We also hope to hear, I know the Suleiman family has been speaking out about this case for years now, since that night where Mubarak Suleiman was shot and killed after Trooper Brian North shot him 7 times through the window of a parked car. We do expect to talk to our analysts tonight. But for now, we want to send you back to regular programming as we continue to cover the case of this verdict where Trooper Brian North has been found not guilty, acquitted on all charges of killing a teenager in Connecticut. We will have continuing coverage, and Eyewitness News at 4 o'clock is coming up. We'll be bringing you live reaction from both inside and outside the courtroom as the reaction to this verdict starts to come out in the courtroom. We'll have that for you live starting at Eyewitness News at 4.